Hi guys, it's your girl Millie here back with another video, and today I want to talk about the power of manifestation. So this is more so like a story time for me, an experience that I've had that in which I've manifested a vehicle, a car or SUV rather. If you're interested and wanted to learn more and wanted to know more about the power of manifestation, just keep on watching. Okay, so I'm back. So for starters, again, this is more of a story time. So around 2000, I believe it was 2008 or 2007, to where I was involved in a car accident. The vehicle that I had at the time was total out, and I did not want to get another vehicle that size, make, model. It was a Toyota Corolla at the time, in which this car was so small. Loved this car dearly because it got me from point A to point B. And typically, all I needed to do was get my oil changed, keep all of my fluids and everything changed and updated, my tires rotated, things like that. The basic maintenance that you need in order to maintain your vehicle. Well, got into a car accident, car was totaled. And so, therefore, it put me in a predicament to where I had to search for another vehicle. So, in that instance, I actually started carpooling with either friends, family members. My ex boyfriend would drive me back and forth to work, and it was more irritating for me because I started to feel like I was a burden on other people. And I was so used to being able to just jump in the car, leave, go wherever I needed to go, whenever I needed to do it. So at that point, it became so frustrating. So, of course, so my ex boyfriend and we started bumping heads because it really became more of a burden for him, you know. And so that caused problems in our relationship and things like that. But anyway, moving on, we had an argument one weekend, and to where he was like, "Well, it's time for you to get another car and stuff like that." And I was just kind of just dragging my tail to try to get another vehicle because I really didn't know what I wanted. So finally, he took me to a car dealership, and at that time, if there was one particular vehicle I wanted, um, one particular vehicle that caught my attention during that time, and it was a 2008 Chevy Equinox. So I was more fond of getting this vehicle because I had a small car when I was in the accident. This accident traumatized me so much to the point to where I felt like I needed to have a larger size, a mid-size sedan vehicle or SUV or something to feel safe driving. I needed to have something that was gonna make me feel comfortable. If somebody was to run into me, bump me, whatever, I would be okay. So at the car dealership, I saw this car, fell in love with the car. Um, And I was like, okay, I really like this car. The color, silver, gray interior. It's actually one of the common models that you may still see on the road today. However, the car salesman, he went in to do all of the paperwork and everything, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna need a co-signer, or you're gonna need more money down." Blase, blase. Well, after I went and was approved through my credit union, I didn't need a cosign or anything like that. That the car dealership, of course, was just trying to make extra money. So, besides going back to that dealership to try and go ahead and get the car financed through my credit union, I just continued to look. So maybe a week or so passed, and from that point of leaving that dealership, I remember calling my mom that day at that dealership saying, hey, I found this truck or this SUV and I really like this SUV. I want to get it and this is what they're asking for. And so, of course, mom was like, well, I'm not co signing and stuff like that. And, my intentions really wasn't for her to co sign, it was more so to get her opinion. So, and I really wanted to do all of this on my own because this would have been my first time buying a vehicle for myself. Um, the first time she bought the first vehicle for me, and between her and I paid the car off and everything. And the thing was, the car was in her name, so it of course it helped boost her credit more so than it would have helped me. So this time I'm like, well, since I had a good history of paying it, I know that I can pay and afford. I'm gonna do this myself. However, a week or so passed. Me and my ex boyfriend were still kind of getting into it and stuff like that. And he's like, well, you need to keep looking and this and that. So the next following Saturday came, and I remember going to this car dealership. And it was so crazy because when I got to the car dealership, I walked in and I was just so unhappy. I was just so displeased with all of the vehicles. It was either way out of my price range or something that I did not want. I did not want another car. I really wanted an SUV at that point. And my mind was set more so on this vehicle, this 2008 Chevy Equinox. So, one of the managers from the car dealership that I went to, he was like, "Hey, he introduced me to a car salesman, and he was like, you know what, this guy, he's really good. He'll take care of you. Let him know what you're looking for, and if you don't see anything that you want, in stock here, we may be able to find it at another one of our locations." So I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. At this point, I'm just real frustrated because I was like, this is not the car dealership that I really want to be at. They don't have nothing that I want. And my mind was still set on that same car. I mean, to the point to where I was looking at pictures of the car online every day, every night, you know. And the first time I actually went to the dealership, at the first dealership, I actually had a chance to test drive the car. And so from test driving it, I really had that feeling of I want this car. This is my car. And so it was so funny because I seen other colors and stuff like that, and I just wasn't interested. So when I went to this car, so the car salesman I actually met with the last time was like, hey, did you see anything you want out there on the lot? I'm sitting in his office and just kind of talking to him, telling him what I wanted. And it was so crazy because I'm sitting face to face with him, and I looked outside the window. Outside the window was the exact car, same make, model, interior, everything that I wanted. So he was like, did you see anything you want? I was like, no. And something told me, look to your right. So once I looked to my right, I see this same truck, same make, model, SUV. Um, and I tell him, this is the car or this is a truck. This is what I want. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, yes, I'm dead serious, dead ass serious. So he was like, okay, well, let me figure out what's going on with this car because for some reason, someone had actually purchased a car and they returned it. I guess they didn't want it after all, and it just so happened to be on the lot. So he said, let me figure out if this is something that, I can let you test drive, just kind of see if you really, really like it. And, if not, we could try something else. So I'm like, okay. So he gave me the keys to this vehicle. And, my ex-boyfriend, at this point, he's excited because he's like, okay, she found something that I know she like, and hopefully she can get this. Well, it was getting later in the day. My credit union had closed for the weekend. And so, he was like, here, just take the keys. I'll let you test drive this car. you could take it for a week if you need to, just to make sure that this is what you want. And he said, basically, I'm gonna make sure I get you in this car, and you're gonna drive this car home. So I'm like, okay. So I'm nervous at this point because I done drove the car home. I test drove the car. I hadn't signed no paperwork or anything for this vehicle. But I had the car for the next few days, for like at least the next week or so. And I hadn't financed the car with my credit union or anything. So the credit union finally got the paperwork in to finance the vehicle. Well, they were hesitant on financing the car because of the price that the dealership was trying to give him. So after the salesman have told me, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and get you in this car no matter what." He gave me his word and I took it. No matter what, you're going to get in this car. Well, after he gave me his word, he really truly stuck to his word. um the car dealership, I mean, the car, they really did not want to give me the car for the price that they gave me the car for. But the car salesman, he stuck this out with me. Like, the money that he probably could have made off of commission, he didn't make as much as he wanted to make. But I definitely was able to finance this car with my credit union. So, at this point, I'm like, wow. I sat there for like the next few days or so after I got approved for the car. My plates finally came in. I was like, yes, I definitely want this car. This is what I want. I was so excited. And so I was excited to realize that I had actually manifested this car. So if you all are familiar with The Secret, the movie The Secret, one of the things is they tell you, you have to have the feeling of being, test drive the car, do whatever you want to do to make you feel that you have the car, speak it into existence. Don't say, when you almost you have to say it to where you already have the car in your possession, or the house in your, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. Well, this was an instance to where I really and truly realized that the power of manifestation is real. When I tell you, that moment that I went to the first car dealership and I was kind of told that I wasn't going to be able to get in the car without having this amount of money. I didn't put no money down or anything. I didn't have a co-signer. I mean, I truly drove off in a car. I didn't have to have anybody to help me. This car salesman that I dealt with that helped me close the deal on this vehicle was true to his word. And just the thought of me wanting the car so bad and wanting to have that in my possession, I truly manifested this. And he was brought into my world and my realm and circle, whatever, for that specific purpose, because he helped me to achieve that. But not only that, I went through a lot of troubles, arguments with my ex-boyfriend. Sometimes we look at things and it seemed like the worst situation at the time, and you don't realize you go through that situation to get you to a better place. Sometimes, if you've ever had a bad day and a good day all at the same time, then you kind of really should be able to get what I'm talking about. Like, you might start off with having to experience something that's just so frustrating and depressing and just makes you so sad. But then before the end of the day, it's like, oh shoots, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is where I was going with this. Well, this is one of those moments that I had. I went through a lot of frustration, but I knew what I wanted. And it's like I told the universe, this is what I want. And I kept saying, this is what I want. This is what I want. And it just came to the point to where I got it. So with all of that, my thing is, for those of you who have something that you're trying to manifest, I would say be as specific as you want to be as to what it is that you want. If it's the same, if it's a certain type of car, certain type of house. Now, the older I've gotten, the more experiences that I've had with manifesting things. The craziest thing for me is that I realized, well, damn, I manifested a Chevy Equinox. If that's the case, I could have manifested a Mercedes, a BMW. whatever it was, but my mind wasn't there. It was just like I was close to that particular thing. And that's the reason why I said in my last video, there's a lot to go around in this world. And don't never let anyone tell you that you can have um, only so much of something, because there's so much in this world to go around for everybody. Not everybody wants the same thing. I mean, the craziest thing was, so I had the Equinox for a while. Then I ended up getting another vehicle. Well, the other vehicle, when I walked out the door the day that I bought that car, was, oh, I want a brand new car. I want a brand new car. I kept saying I wanted a brand new car, and I wanted a luxury vehicle, but I didn't have the picture painted in my mind as to what I really truly wanted. But I guarantee you that I came back that same day with a new car, and it was so crazy, to the point to where I realized, damn, every time I manifest something, or if it's something that I want, I come back with it. But my thing is, if there's something that you want, you have to be as specific as you need to be in order to get what you want. For example, when I moved into my house, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is my house." It was so crazy because someone else put a contract on this same house. And it was so frustrating to me because I found the same floor plan, the same house. I mean, well, the same floor plan, or whatever you want to call it, for this same house in another neighborhood, but I wasn't fond of that neighborhood. Well, the day that it was time for me to sign all of the paperwork and everything for that house, I went back and I asked the agent. I'm like, "Hey, is this other house still available?" And I was telling her, I'm really more interested in this other house. And it was so crazy because when I did the walkthrough and everything, my mother kept saying, "This is your house." Because I kept saying, "Oh, mama, I want this house." She said, "This is your house. This is your house." And I say, "Oh, you know what? You know what? You're right. This is my house." And so what was so crazy was, after going through all of those troubles, the day that I asked her if this house was available, when I was getting ready to sign the papers to the other house, this house had became available that same exact morning. Y'all, when I tell you that this shit is real, you can truly manifest whatever it is that you want. Don't let nobody detour you from whatever your dreams are. If it's something that you want out of life, if there's something that you need, or a goal that you want to accomplish, don't let anybody else tell you or take anything that you have away from you. But the truth is, follow your heart. If there's something that you want, manifest it. Create you a vision board. Create you a manifestation box. I've seen so many different types of ways to where people manifest things. I mean, I do the scripting, I do the vision board, I do the funnel, where we use the funnel to use like a tunnel vision and just really focusing on what it is that you want. I sit up and I meditate. I do all of these things in order to get wherever it is that I want to be, and to be able to manifest what I need and what I want out of life. You can be as specific, but best believe, when you tell the universe you want something, be as specific as you need to be, so that when you receive it, you receive exactly what you want and not just a portion of it, because it truly matters. And I don't care what nobody say. If you are as specific as you need to be, and whatever it is, your dreams, your goal, whatever you aspire to be, you can definitely get it. Well, that's my story time for today. Thank you all for joining in. Love you. Toodles.